Hey gang, I just want to make this video because I just hit a new milestone on the I Am Sober app. 50 days benzo-free, that also marks 50 days of full sobriety. Now, I honestly can't remember the last time that I've been fully sober. I think 2024, I was always using something. In the beginning of 2024, I was using benzodiazepines. I made a few videos about attempting to quit. I think I only managed to quit diazepam for like 2 weeks. And then I went back to it. Now the whole time last year I was making sobriety videos about alcohol sobriety, cannabis sobriety. I was sober for alcohol and cannabis for a while. And I'm sober for over 600 days of alcohol. And then I eventually relapsed on cannabis. But the whole time I was making those alcohol and cannabis sobriety videos in 2024, I was still using other substances. I was still using diazepam. I was using some other, I think I was using brolazepam as well. I was using alprazolam as well. So I was using a whole bunch of benzos. And on top of that, I was using kratom. I was drinking the Thai kratom as well from like the street vendors that's mixed with cough syrup. So I was probably on codeine as well. I was a wreck and I was a mess. And that kratom plus the benzos really messed me up. It had me so high, like so high, to the point where I remember going for a haircut one day, and there was one step to get onto the platform to go to the haircut, and I fell over, man. And even the barber was like, "Yo, your eyes are so low." And I remember taking a picture of myself, because I was using Discord at the time. I remember taking a picture of myself after the haircut to show my friends on Discord, and they were like, "Bro, your eyes." And I was just like, I looked like an addict, and I looked like I was super out of it, which I was. I'm even gonna say that some nights when I mix the benzos and the Thai kratom, like mixed with cough syrup and things like that, I got knocked out so heavy, and the sleep was so deep and heavy that I wet the bed. I think that happened on 2 occasions. I wet the bed because I was always drinking tons of water, because the Thai kratom concoction always made me feel so dry. So I would drink and hydrate tons of water. And that caused me to wet the bed on more than one occasion, which it's not fun. I mean, it's funny in retrospect, but I mean, goddamn, how did I allow that to go on for so long? And then I ran out of benzos, I think around March of last year, 2024. And then I switched to kratom, like just the powdered version. I was done with the concoction because it was just messing me up way too much. You know, the cough syrup, the sedation was way too strong. So then I switched to like the powdered version when I ran out of benzos, and that's what I kind of used to like wean myself off, or to help deal with the withdrawals that I was going through the benzos. I was just using insane amounts of kratom like that. I'm talking about grams on grams per day. It was not healthy. And then eventually April rolled around, I started smoking weed again, then I stopped the kratom, and then from April till November I was smoking weed pretty much every single day. And then then I went back to Vietnam in November 2024, and that's when I got benzodiazepines again, because I know a few pharmacies in certain areas of Vietnam where you can get benzos for so cheap. Like, you can pretty much get I think you can get any pharmaceutical in these specific pharmacies. They're not supposed to sell without a prescription, but some pharmacies don't care. And I stocked up on Xanax, I stocked up on generic alprazolam, which is Xanax, but like the generic version. I stocked up on diazepam as well, which I showed you guys in the previous video. And then I just fell back into the benzodiazepine rabbit hole. And this whole time I thought it was helping me, because I always suffered from anxiety. I always suffered from stress. And I recently got diagnosed with ADHD. So that explains a lot of my past, and it explains a lot of my substance abuse. I was truly always trying to self-medicate with various substances, whether it be alcohol, whether it be benzodiazepines. These two were like biggest ones. I always used to love mixing benzos and alcohol. Luckily, I'm over 600 days sober from alcohol, and I had the foresight. If it wasn't for the gym and my fitness, I would have started drinking again. But I'm pretty fanatical in fitness and exercise, so I didn't want to drink because I knew it would ruin my gym progress. So luckily, I made the decision not to drink this time. But then I started using benzos and cannabis so heavily. But as I was saying, I recently got diagnosed with ADHD, so that really explains the history of my substance abuse. I was always trying to self-medicate and just trying to self-regulate with substances. Getting diagnosed with ADHD is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, because now I finally have the answers to what was wrong with me. Now I have the systems and I'm getting the support structure in place in order for me to succeed. I still need to find a therapist and get into cognitive behavioral therapy, but I think I'm gonna wait a few days until I'm 90 days sober from cannabis, because for me to get insurance on my ADHD meds and for me to get insurance for the therapy, I need to pass a drug test. And I smoked weed so heavily that I think it really might be in my system 60 to 90 days. Even though I'm so physically active and I run and I go to the gym and do these things, I just want to be sure that I pass that drug test, because I don't know what the consequences are. If I fail that drug test, then I might be disqualified from receiving the financial aid for my ADHD medication. And that's another thing I want to speak about. I do have a history of substance abuse and pharmaceutical drug abuse. So I was very hesitant on going on ADHD medication. I'm currently taking a stimulant. I'm taking L-Vance, which is also known as Vyvanse in the States. But out of the stimulants, through my research, through my psychiatrist, it has the least potential for abuse.
This is basically timed release D-amphetamine. Okay, this is important because I think a lot of people think that Adderall, which again is D-amphetamine and L-amphetamine, and those two things operate quite a bit differently at the level of norepinephrine and epinephrine and cardiac versus brain effects. A lot of people think Vyvanse is just slow release Adderall, but it is not. What Vyvanse is D-amphetamine only, but in time release form. And Vyvanse was actually developed as a way to try and get around, or rather prevent, some of the abuse potential of Adderall and other drugs that contain D-amphetamine.
I also heard this on the Andrew Huberman podcast, because it is a time-released medicine, so it's not that quick high as with Ritalin and Concerta. And I actually had the option to choose which medication I wanted to try first, and I wanted to go with Vyvanse. I have taken Concerta before in the past, because I was prescribed that when I was 15, just for studying for exams, not for ADHD, which is kind of wacky. That's a psychiatrist in South Africa that prescribed me sleeping pills and this medication. They did so without their due diligence, and in Finland, what they did would be considered medical malpractice. Anyways, luckily I'm in Finland right now, where the medical system is pretty strict. These controlled substances are pretty strict, so I'm in good hands here. And as I was saying, I was a little bit hesitant on going on Vyvanse and taking a stimulant medication, but I clearly need something, because for studying, and I'm currently trying to pursue computer science, I need to be able to focus. And my problem in the past has been to be able to have sustained focus for long periods of time, especially when I'm studying subjects or things that are more cognitively taxing. And this is now my 5th day taking Vyvanse. I'm only on 20 milligrams right now. The effects only last me for about 3 to 4 hours before I crash, and I'm on the lowest dose right now, so 20 milligrams. My psychiatrist said that I could take up to 40 milligrams, and I even messaged her yesterday about it, because I need to be able to focus more than 3-4 hours. I want to be able to study for 6 to 8 hours every day. But I'm going to be taking a little bit of a more mindful approach to it, and using 20 milligrams for 10 days to allow my body time to adjust. And I want to see if I can really rewire my brain and train my brain to have sustained focus for more than 4 hours at a time, through repetition, because at the end of the day, the brain is a muscle just like any other. You need to train it, and I need to get those reps in. And I don't want to end up in a position where I'm reliant on ADHD medication to focus and get work done and do cognitively demanding tasks. I want to be able to train that focus and that attention myself. And I think through discipline, willpower, through mindfulness practices such as meditation, and just my holistic lifestyle, the way I structure my lifestyle, I will be able to do that. And I will say, now with Vyvanse and L-Vance, the the medication I'm currently taking, which is Elvance, I'm just saying Biomance Elvance, it's the same thing. It makes me feel so much better. I feel like this is how my mind is supposed to function. I can actually focus on tasks, and I can actually focus on the current courses I'm taking, Coursera with Python for Everybody, a programming course. I'm just one assignment away from completing that. Then I'm going to switch to a Harvard Python course as well, Introduction to Python through the Harvard course, which is completely free and online, just to cement my knowledge of Python. And then I'm going to move into Harvard's CS50 Introduction to Computer Science, which I've already started, but I took a back step from it because I kind of want to gain more programming knowledge, and Python is a relatively easy language to learn for beginners from what I've been told. So that's the path I'm going to take. But overall, the medications also helped me reduce my anxiety. It helps me feel more grounded and calm. It makes me feel less impulsive. I don't feel high when I take it, like, oh, I'm not abusing it. I'm literally only taking 20 milligrams, which is the lowest dose. My psychiatrist even suggested me starting with 30 milligrams, but I said I want the minimal effective dose. And I really, if I can, I want to stick with just 20 milligrams because I do have some side effects like dry mouth and dry eyes, but overall, I'm not experiencing any other side effects. My appetite is still there. I'm sleeping even better than I used to sleep. Honestly, I can have nightmares or vivid dreams now, and I wake up feeling restful. I don't wake up feeling anxious anymore. So overall, this is such a positive for me. I just want to keep the dose as low as possible. So I'm truly not afraid of myself abusing this. And that's why I chose Vyvanse, because it has the least potential for abuse. Through my research, through asking ChatGPT, through checking online forums, through even listening to the Andrew Huberman podcast, which I linked in my community tab on the YouTube channel, it has the least potential for abuse because it's time release, and maybe Andrew Huberman can explain it a little bit better. Maybe if I can find the clip, I'll add it to this video. Ironically enough, I want to say that my history with benzodiazepine abuse has made me so much more responsible with this medication now that I'm actually prescribed, because I know what comes with abusing pharmaceutical drugs throughout my past and throughout my history. So that is the last thing I want to do. And I'm truly in the process of getting my life together. And as I said in the beginning of this video, now I'm 50 days fully sober. I can't remember the last time I was fully sober. It must have been somewhere in 2023, maybe 2022, where I was not using any single substance. I was always using weed or something. And now I have no substances. No substances. I haven't even watched porn for over 2 months, so that's crazy, like I'm truly becoming a different person. And on top of that, I've started reading the Bible, started studying the Bible, and I found God. And I'm not going to preach religion to hear like, oh, you need to find God, you need to find Jesus, or I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say that this is something that has worked for me personally. And I feel like everyone should believe in a higher power, whether it be Allah, Buddha, or just the universe. Maybe don't believe in religion, but just spiritual, because I've always said this, I'm of the fundamental belief that everything is connected and everything is one. So believing in a higher power, now studying the Bible has really changed me, and I'm growing my relationship and my connection to God. So I really can't put into words truly how much my perspective and mindset is changing and how much my life is changing. It feels like I'm finally on the right path. Never did I imagine I would be living in Helsinki, Finland. It's so weird that I'm in my home country, the city where I was born. But yeah, I feel like I've said this in previous videos, all paths lead to Rome, and this is my Rome. And am I gonna live here for the rest of my life? Because Rome did collapse, right? I don't know. I do want to move somewhere else at some point, but I think for the next few years, next 5 years or so, this will be the country where I'm in. I do want to get into university for computer science. It's going to be a little bit of a tricky path for me to get there, but where there's a will, there's going to be a way. And yeah, I just want to make this video unfiltered, unscripted, just raw, just my thoughts, to give you guys a little bit of an update and to hold myself accountable, because now I can finally say that I'm fully sober. Because as I said, in the videos in 2024 that I was making, where I was cannabis free and alcohol free, I was still using substances in the background. I was still using kratom, I was still using weed, I was probably using codeine because the kratom concoctions that I was drinking were mixed with God knows what. But now I'm fully sober and I can start making these videos again and make it from a place of authenticity, because now I have nothing to hide. And I think every time I hit a milestone on the I Am Sober app for certain substances, certain things, I'm gonna make an update video to keep myself accountable, to track the progress, potentially to help inspire some of you to change your lives. Because as I said, where there's a will, there's a way. All it takes is that decision that you're gonna change your life, that you wanna change your life. And it's not gonna be an easy road, it's not gonna be an easy path, but it's definitely gonna be worth it. And as time goes by, it will become easier. You just need to push through the initial hurdles, the initial obstacles, the initial pain. And like I always say, every action you take, every decision you make is a vote for your future self. So who do you want to be? And always remember that the sun always rises, even through the darkest of nights. I think that's going to be the end of this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.